Hello, and welcome to my podcast, Good Grief. My name is Dr. Christine Malone, and in this podcast, we talk about trauma, tragedy, and survival. In each episode, I will interview someone that has gone through grief in some way, and we will discuss the impact it has had on their life. By sharing these stories, we hope that others won't feel alone should they be going through similar situations. Enjoy.
Mhm.
All right, listeners, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. My guest today is going to share a story about some things he's been through with grief over coworkers that he's lost, as well as his grandma, all within a short period of time. So, guest, if you would, go ahead and introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is Chris Bisco, and I am actually the founder and CEO of ChrisBOnTheWeb Media for almost the last 10 years, which is
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'll be in November. We'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary, which is huge.
Yeah.
I'm a executive producer and co-host, or sorry, executive producer and host of two podcasts, and my podcast and the Secret of a Show. I do one on my own and one with a friend of mine as well.
Great. Well, we're going to be linking to those, so we'll be sure that those are in our podcast notes when your episode airs, so that our listeners can find you and read more about you. So, tell us a bit about. I mean, was it all in the same year or so with the staff members, and grandma? So, what all happened?
So in March 10th, my grandma passed away from pneumonia,
Yeah.
which is she's been battling it for years and years and years, like on and off for at least 10 years. She's been battling the pneumonia. She got a pneumonia shot, and she's been through a lot of health issues. And she died on March 10th at age of 98
Just this year, so just last month?
last year.
Oh, last year. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
March 20,
98.
yeah,
Yeah.
March 10th, 2023. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
I'm
I was
so
really close
I'm
to
sorry
her. I
for
was
that.
really close to her.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine. I was mentioning before we started recording, I was very close to one of my grandmothers, and
Yeah.
losing her was not easy. It's not easy, but
Yeah.
98 is an amazing age to live to. So yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
sorry for that loss.
Yeah.
So it
Thank
was
you.
right around that same time you had two staff members that passed as well?
2 months. Yeah. One was by suicide. I guess it was a lot to do with her ex. Her ex was really abusive with her and all that. And I think actually, yeah, it was her first. She passed away first, and then uh her sister got killed, murdered by her ex. So it's kind of no,
Oh,
I don't know what the story is, what's going on with that now, but I just haven't heard anything. But
wow. So they
really
were,
unfortunate.
wow, okay. Yeah. So now were you close to these coworkers? Were they people you knew socially as well as at work?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yes. Yes. She and I were. She was my community manager for quite
Mhm.
some time too.
Yeah.
And the other one, she was, I don't know, she was a community manager. She was actually at the time when, like Sophie died. Chloe was before Sophie, so it's kind of complicated because it kind of went back and forth. That they one quit, and then her sister came in, and then she quit, and her sister came back. It was just like on and off cycle and
Yeah.
all that. There was a lot of things going on personally with them too.
Yeah, I would imagine. I didn't realize that they were sisters as well as people that you
Hmm.
that's traumatic for their family as well. So
It is, yes.
yeah, so when the one that took her own life, now I happen to know that suicide has a different ramifications, if you will, for those of us left behind. My first husband committed suicide, so I do know that that's a different story than with someone who passes away at the age of 98, a sweet grandma. So, but how did that impact you? Losing those two staff members so traumatically. I mean, one taking her own life and one having her life taken from her.
It was really, really difficult. I think I just shut down. I just didn't do anything the rest. I didn't I wasn't I disappeared from Crispy on the Web Media for a while. I just didn't do a lot. I had the CBOW show that was starting. I did a couple episodes in June, and that was it. And I didn't do anything until like November. I just completely shut down physically and mentally. I was like, I don't want to do anything. I don't feel like doing work, and that really affected getting things done to the end game for that. Like it was like I was trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? I was trying to finish up a show that Larry and I, who was my coworker, big shout out to him. He's a great guy, great friend, and all that. But I mean, like the whole community was shook too.
Oh yeah.
Like, like a lot of my community members were really shook by it. A lot of them were connected to her as well. Like, not just the team, but the community too was really, really tragically upset about that, about losing
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, no, I know. And I know one thing that happens, especially when we lose someone to suicide, is the constant questioning. What did I not see? What did I miss? What could I have
Mhm.
done? And so on. So is that something you experienced as well?
Yeah, I asked a lot of questions. Why did this have to happen? Like, why? And she was young too. She was 34, I think it was 34,
Very,
around there. I don't remember. My memory's still not that great right now. But I mean, she was in her 30s, and that's still young to die, right?
very, very young. I have kids in their 30s, so they're very young. It's very young.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
it,
that's too bad. That's just too bad. So
it
did you
is.
did you do anything like with your team, with your other, employees to kind of help them through losing, two people that they worked with?
We talked a lot, and we kind of, we supported each other. We were always, we have a staff chat that we have together where we were always chatting and just, making sure everybody's okay and all that. So
Yeah.
it's good to have that little staff chat that we can all connect and talk, and not just, work related, but, you know, not professionally, but, just personally as well.
Right. Now, were you doing those before you lost these two staff members? Did you have those staff
Yes.
before? Did they change in any way afterward? I mean, did you make them more personal, hey, Chris, I want to check in with you. How you feeling today? Kind of thing. Did that any of that type of dynamic change with those staff chats?
No, just we kept checking in every day, make sure everybody was okay, just kind of keeping in touch. And, I think we took some time away from doing a lot of stuff. We still did blogs, but I mean, we didn't do a lot. I still ran entertainment podcast, still ran, I did that, but CBO show was completely, well, actually, it was under a different name before, but I mean, we just kept checking in every time. So,
Yeah. So do you feel like there's any long-lasting effects, or is everybody pretty much back to running as usual?
we're back to running usual. We've been through a lot of different changes staff wise, and we went through a lot of staff during the summer until August, until I found that one person, and she's been with me ever since. Kelsey, she's been like my rock, my supporter. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy to have her in my life, and
Yeah.
and her brother has been keeping up with me too.
That's great. Yeah, I know for my own personal life, when you find someone that's really good to work with, it's really nice. It's really nice. Like, oh, that takes such a load off my mind to be able to handle things that I don't have time or the aptitude for handling. So tell us a little more about your grandma. So, you said you were
Mhm.
close. So, did you grow up in the same area as her? Did you spend time living at her house or how'd that work out?
Actually, she's French. She's from Quebec City.
Okay.
Originally, she was born and raised in Quebec, and my obviously my mom's French. All my uncles and aunts are French as well. But she moved, I think, in the '60s to Ontario, and my mom had to learn English, obviously, because it is English here. There is some French here. I'm pretty sure in Ottawa, especially. So and then she moved out to Lindsay, Ontario, and then she moved down where I am right now. And she was the reason for that was because my grandpa, her husband, was battling bone cancer at the time.
Hmm.
So he passed away from it in 95, 90, 96 or 97. He
Mhm.
passed away from bone cancer, and that was really hard on me too. But ever since, we used to take her to church every Sunday. We would go over there. I would have breakfast, bananas and toast. That's one of her favorite things. She loved that. And even during high school, I used to go like on weekends to visit her. And in college, and after high school, I used to go for lunches. One of my favorite dishes was the meat and onions and macaroni. Was one of her favorite dishes that she used to make for me. I love it. I do it once in a while here in her memory. I did it on the anniversary of her death. I actually cooked that as well, so that was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Uh, we-
cool memory. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good
yeah.
one. Yeah,
And
any
she
good.
and oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Also, we used to watch like the Let's Make a Deal, which is a big show. Price is Right was another one. Uh, those were the two big game shows that we used to watch. I
Yeah.
used to watch Pinky and the Brain on the Sunday mornings when at church. So, all the good shows, all the game shows, especially. She got me into GSN 73 up here. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I got her into that too. She liked Steve Harvey too. So that was one of the big ones she liked. She always made a comment and I'm,
Steve Harvey's hilarious, I think. So it's like like I can see why
he
someone
is.
did in him. I mean, yeah, you mentioning the game shows is reminding me of my grandma. Shoot, that's kind of that must be that generation. They just loved those game shows. Let's Make a Deal
Yeah.
and all that. Price is Right. I remember I'm older than you are, so I remember like the dating game and all those other shows that happened in the early 70s.
Hmm.
My grandmother would watch as well. So yeah, those were all fun ones. So anything else you do to kind of keep her memory going? I know you've mentioned making the special meal on her death anniversary, but like birthday or Christmas, anything that you do that kind of you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this for grandma. I got this ornament I'm gonna hang up for grandma or anything like that.
Actually, I could show you. Little can't see it on the audio only, but I have
Oh,
her
okay.
her little snowman. I look at it
Oh,
every day.
uh,
It's on my whiteboard right next to me.
yeah,
Has her name on it. So it's right next to me. My mom, we were cleaning out her apartment. I was like, my mom's like, "Do you want this?" I say, "Okay." So I took it, and it's been sitting here since in the
yeah.
studio. So
A lot of times it's those little things that are like, a little knickknack or something, For me, with
yeah.
my grandmother, of all odd things, she gave me a chair, like a living room chair that I
Hmm.
really cared for, and she'd actually had it upholstered in this dark pink fabric, which is definitely something. But I've had that chair for years. It's like that chair's going to come with me forever, even though my husband's like, why don't we recover it into something that we could actually match? And he's like, no, no, that dark pink is grandma, so just leave it alone. So
Yeah.
that chair, which has got monetary value of zero, but to me
Hmm.
it's valuable because it's the thing I
Yeah.
have from grandma. So
We have our big chair, our big maroon chair upstairs actually, and I sit on it too. I think on the day, if I remember the day of her birthday, I sat on it, thought about her there.
yeah,
'Cause that was the exact same chair I sat in when I always went over there. I always sat in that chair. I don't know why, but I love that chair.
yeah,
And my mom purposely got it just because I sit in it all the time, even
yeah.
here at home. So it's kind of nice.
So she has it now. Mom has it now.
Yep, we have it upstairs. I'm actually with
Nice.
my parents right now. I'm living
Oh,
with them. Well, they're
yeah,
getting older now, and I want to
yeah.
help them out and take care of them. So,
Yep, that's actually an episode I'm going to be doing in the near future is with someone talking about taking care of aging parents and how that impacts
hmm,
life and so on. So, my parents both passed very young. My dad was 59, my mother was 69, so I didn't have that elderly parent thing like a lot
hmm,
of people do. So I can certainly understand what that's like.
yeah.
So
And
tell me,
family, sorry. And can I say one more thing?
yeah, go ahead, please.
Family, yeah, family means a lot to me. I'm a big family man. Obviously, you know that. You could realize that by us talking. I'm
Yeah.
a big family man. I love being with family and all that. So it's means a lot. I do a lot of spending time with family, especially my niece and nephew. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, it's great. And when we have good family members, I mean, I have some really good family members, and
Hmm.
some of them I've inherited through marriage, and yeah, it's amazing
Yeah.
how much value you get,
Yeah.
and that you bring and they bring both to that
Yeah.
relationship. So that's
And
all.
and our family really like we supported each other through all of that too. So which really meant except there was a little bit of family drama, but
Yeah,
we came together. We came together afterwards, and we're really good. Especially my uncle, he's been amazing, and my mom's been amazing, and my parents. So it means a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, no, I know. I've often said that death and money are what bring out sometimes the worst
Hmm.
parts of people, right? It's like,
Right.
getting all wired up. At least it has been in my experience where it's like, come on, let's just make this work and whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately that brings out things. So tell us about I'm looking, you've got three different websites and a podcast. Is that right? So tell us about what you do on each of these different
Okay.
these ventures that you have.
So ChrisBOnTheWeb.com is the official website for Crispy the Web Media. Like I said before, it's a media company. Funny story is I Googled Crispy the Web Media and it actually was listed as a company. I'm like, okay, we're a company now. But ChrisBOnTheWeb.com has our blogs. We have like all our staff. There's only three of us because one of them just quit just this afternoon, unfortunately. But has our staff, has all the information. We have a page for our 10th anniversary. That's going to be all the events happening. We've kind of been steering away from that. I got to get back into planning some stuff for 10th anniversary. We have a memory page. There's a lot. Anytime podcast. There's actual version of Anytime podcast you can listen to there. Same as CBO Michelle. We embed it to our website too as well. So it's also on the website, audio only. And then we have YouTube. We have two YouTube channels actually now. Entertainment Podcast is on YouTube. That's just youtube.com/Entertainment Man Pod and youtube.com/The CBW Show. Both two different podcasts. Like I said, Entertainment Podcast is a motivational podcast.
Okay.
Where I kind of do like advice and I help, and I've been doing a lot of stuff on content lately. Creating content and the strategy behind it, and then like scheduling and then social media aspect, which is really important.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for 4 years now
Okay.
since the start of COVID.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'm not unfortunately, but that's how it
Yeah.
started was because of COVID, and
Yep.
people really liked it, continue to support it.
Yeah.
Eh,
So when you say motivational, you're talking about like coach, career coaching.
Self-help. Yeah,
It's
like
like,
a self-help.
oh, like self-help. Oh, okay, great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah,
Yeah. No, that's great.
yeah.
That's great. So like your typical listeners, what are they, where are they coming from? What are they listening to you for? What are they getting out of it is what I guess my question would be.
Uh, I'm not even sure where my listeners are coming from. Like a lot of them, I've got like 62 on YouTube right now. I think 62. Yeah, we're on 62 on YouTube. I don't even know how many I get on audio only.
Right.
I have no clue. My analytics just doesn't seem to work very well
Oh,
with the
I
provider I'm with.
yeah,
I
I
might
know.
have to switch. Yeah.
Yeah, I know like with my podcast, I can delve up some information as far as like I know we've been heard in like 62 countries now, but other than that, it's like you really can't
Hmm.
the
Oh,
demographics and stuff,
yeah.
you really don't even know who that is. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always like, well, but we are able to like look and see which episodes are the most listened to, so we can kind of get
Hmm.
a sense for what people really like. And we do of
Yeah.
course get feedback, but email feedback. So do you get like people reach out to you and say,
Oh,
hey, I'll listen to that?
Oh yeah, like YouTube, I get comments all the time. You know, the odd troll here or there,
Oh,
but no, people reach out and people said, you really motivated me on this episode of the podcast. Really appreciate you, talking about it. And I always tell people, say you have an idea, reach out,
yeah.
comment below on YouTube or email me. Like, I try to get people to interact with me, and that's the way I want to do it.
Yeah, well, that way you can kind of do, I mean, get, ideas that people might have that you're like you hadn't thought of. Like in my example with this podcast, this Good Grief podcast, I had somebody say, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing an episode on loss, grief after losing a pet?" And now I'm a big pet person. I have four dogs. Always had dogs in my life, and so I thought, well, that's actually a really good idea, and it was a very powerful episode. I had more than one guest in it, and we really talked about what it's like to survive the loss of a beloved pet. So those kinds of ideas that someone might bring to you are kind of like, oh, that's a really good one. I like that one. But yeah, the trolls, there are the occasional troll.
Hmm.
I totally, when you said that, I started chuckling like, oh yeah, I know what you mean by that. It's like,
Yeah,
what is this person not needs a hobby or something? I don't know what's going on with them. But
I
yeah,
had one this morning, and I was like, okay, I just delete it. I just click delete. You're done. I just
Yeah.
deleted the comment and that was it. But
It's yeah, it's they're just kind of, I don't know. I have a I like to well, in a different, if I have time in my life, which is very, very rare, but every now and again if I get like a troll that sends me a message or something, I do like to kind of play with them a little bit, and because I always think, well, they're obviously looking for like money or something, and the longer I keep them
mm,
distracted, the less likely they're going to get somebody, gullible and fall for this. But yeah, and I kind of have fun with that sometimes too. But
yeah.
yeah, I love the YouTube channels of the guys that like do this, get the scammers on the line and all that kind of stuff. Those are always fun to
Oh, the scammer payback. He's awesome. Yeah, I haven't seen much on him. He hasn't done much lately. I've been really quiet. So
he's hilarious. Is that the guy who like he dresses up like a grandma sometimes too? That's not the same one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No,
yeah,
he's hilarious. I'm thinking he's very talented too. Very talented. I have no idea
yeah,
half the stuff he does, but that's great.
yeah.
Was there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we finish today?
Uh, Not really. Like the CBOW show is just a like movie and TV podcast, and I've been really enjoying those with Larry. Larry and I've been doing this for 5.5 years plus years now, so it's just been amazing. Just adventuring into the world of YouTube for that one too, and
Yeah,
you can just find everything
yeah.
on ChrisBOnTheWeb.com. Probably the best way to find it because it is linked. The YouTube channel is linked on there, so it's
Well, like I said, we'll put all that in the podcast notes so people can find you and look and see what you're doing and so on. But I so appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
no problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Good Grief. To hear more about my personal story, please pick up a copy of my book, The Day I Became the Spider Killer, a memoir of trauma, tragedy, and survival, available in paperback, Kindle, and Audible via Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other online book retailers.